Hey guys, welcome to the Heart of David. Hope you guys are doing good today. Today I want to talk about judgment. Judgment on America. What part of America? North America. I think North America is being judged. Trying to test out my voice here. Having difficulty today. I believe it's the United States, but I also believe, it's kind of hard to look at Canada and the West for that matter, but this focuses on mainly the United States. But it's hard not to look at Canada as well, but only under the Trudeau government. But in any case, that's what I want to talk about today. Can anyone take an honest look and say what has happened in the last 4 years, and what I would argue to be from the year 2001? We all know what happened then. Was there a cascade effect after that? Was there a domino effect after that? I think, how old was I? I was like 22 years old when the Twin Towers happened. And, the way that God operates is not quick. It's in his own timing. People look back and say, well, that's 20 years or that's 30 years. World War II was, 85 years ago or something like that. That's not that long ago at all. I bring you first to, now consider the last couple videos that I've made about Elon Musk and Donald Trump. I don't know for sure. We have to see and wait. What I know is it appears that there's a beast system already in place. We don't know. There are things that they know that we don't. What I'm talking about is technology, ideas, all those sorts of things. You're going to have to forgive me. I'm very nervous today because of my abdomen again. It's another stone moving. I believe, and I don't want to get totally technical, biblically and all that. I want to look at this from just an honest perspective, from a human perspective, from a believer perspective. Revelation 6. He was given a crown, right? We know that crown means corona, and so in any case, I said that in my last video, it's just my throat, man. Second seal, conflict on earth. Does it appear that the earth has lost its peace to you? And I already know what people are going to say. It's going to be so much worse than this, and it probably will be. But to ignore those, I think, is to be, I don't know what the right word for it is you don't have good discernment. Here's where it stops, and it the third seal. When he opened the third seal, I heard the living creature say, "Come and see." So I looked, and behold, a black horse, and he who sat on it had a pair of scales in his hand, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four living creatures saying, "A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, but don't harm the oil and the wine." Now, when we look at Revelation, do you think that they're always talking about all over the earth, that everything is equal and the same? Pardon me, I got to pace for a second. This is very interesting, though. I'm going to get into America. Such a challenge to do, man. I can't even begin to tell you. Um, yeah. I don't know, like anyone who watches my videos. I just got back a test, to look to see if I have achalasia. I don't think it's achalasia, but there were some strange numbers in my lower esophageal sphincter, so that's right at the bottom of your esophagus. I have a lot of problems. It said there was increased tone. I don't know, it was above normal, so you see me have problems with my throat, that's likely part of it. In any case, you see me having difficulty for a reason. So I'm going to stop there and say the third seal, okay? Where there's scarcity. And a lot of people say scarcity on the earth. I don't know if that's what it means. It could be in a particular place. It doesn't, let me see this again. So who knows, but let's just think about what's happening right now with the tariffs, okay? The tariffs that Trump says he's going to put on Canada, Mexico, he's going to buy Greenland, and he's going to take Panama. Whatever, right? The most worrying of all of those is Canada for you who live in the States. And I want you to know this. I believe Canada has a higher hand than the United States does in this. But, I could be wrong. We give them 4.4 billion barrels a day of crude oil. It's a lot of oil. That accounts for about, I think it's like, you guys use 20, so that's about 1/5 of your oil could just be turned off because you're going to put a 25% tariff on everything in Canada, even though we don't deserve it. On both sides, there's going to be a lot of pain, and that's just where it begins. There's a lot of other stuff too. 9 million Americans work for things that Canada buys. In any case, you see what's happening, right? Whether this is going to happen or not, it makes me think of this. I have heard a lot of very respectable pastors, people, you know what, I'm not going to say you just have to read the Bible to know things. You don't have to go in school and learn all the history to know what's happening in this world, right? Just a little extra respect, I guess. Many of them believe the same. America is being judged. It may appear to you that it isn't because you think, oh, this isn't by God, that these are being done by people. But what do you think God uses? He uses people, right? Pardon me, man, I'm going to move again. God uses people. God uses people to punish other people. He puts leaders in, and he lets corruption happen. Do you realize this? That, oh man, I'm having a hard time today. This is what people don't understand. Who is this angel of death and people like the bottomless pit angel and stuff like that? I believe the angel of death and all that could well be the devil. This is what people don't understand. At all times, 100% of the time, God is holding back evil. If God did not hold back evil, someone would always be opportunistic to want to kill you, to want to take over, to war, to do those things. Believe me, God is holding those things back. So he lets it go in circumstances in some cases. In 1962, okay, who was the center of all, where people knew God really was strong, where people were strong in the Lord? It was in the land of America. Canada, United States, probably Australia, the West. But especially the United States. Is that not right? In 1962, they took prayer out of classrooms. Now you have public schools who teach evolution. They teach you evolution. What was it, the 1860 or somewhere close to that? Darwin wrote the Origin of Species or whatever, when previously he ruined it. He's going to have a very harsh judgment. He ruined billions of people's understanding of God. So in 62 that happened, and you and I are waiting for the falling away, for the men of sin to be revealed. Are those things related? Are they completely related, that one's going to happen right after the other? It's hard to look at America right now, especially the United States, but the things are happening in Canada with assisted death, Pride, I remember Pride was it may have originally started in Canada and Toronto, those parades. Now our streets are absolutely filled with them, right? They're filled with the LGBTQ. And it's Pride, and God hates it. God hates it. It just doesn't make sense. It's like people are pushing their sex on us, their sexual beliefs, their identities. It's an ideology that is communistic in nature. Not only that, they're pushing all types of ideologies on us. We're being swamped with this stuff. Woman, man, man, woman. There's devastation and disasters happening on scales that we never knew. And, if you're going to try to argue that, that's fine. It's quite obvious what's happening. You see what just happened in California? The border wide open, letting in, over 10 million people. The number's probably 20 million people. They're not even locking people up for stealing. Like it's happening in Canada and the States. It's brutal. People getting raped, murdered, shot, cars stolen, houses broken into, and scales that were just never seen before. America is being judged. And I wonder, when everyone's looking to Israel for things to happen, and there are things that are taking place that, like the Abraham Accords. I remember people saying, hell will freeze over before anyone signs any type of covenant in the Middle East. But lo and behold, who comes by and creates this? But he's not in power for long enough to do it. But you better believe they're going to try to sign it now. And then what does the book of Joel say, right? They divided my land. That's still God's land. That's still God's land. I don't believe those are the real Jews, though. After 2020, it's hard not to look at America and see that there's a lot of bad stuff happening, like what's going on. The rest of the world was already godless, although there are many brothers and sisters in India and Iran and in China underground. God bless those people, right? But it was you'll say, well, there, you just proved yourself wrong. They are all over the place. But it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. It was America, where the land of the free, and opportunity, and there were so many people believed in God, and that has disappeared. True believers, people going to church who are completely lukewarm, who don't even know God. We celebrate Christmas. There's nothing wrong with celebrating Christmas with me, if it's to see family and that type of thing, and to know it's for Jesus Christ. But it's not about that anymore. It's just about selling, advertising. We're going to become like gods, right? That's what they're trying to do. So I ask you, do you think the church has fallen away? I think without a shadow of a doubt, we are in complete apostasy. Why? It was already there to a degree with those, before the internet and all that came out. When it was just by TV, there was Kenneth Copeland, there was Jesse Duplantis. Those were the guys on TV that people would send money. And you'd always look at them and you'd be like, no wonder people don't like to speak about God. It's because of these men. And they're still here. And they're even worse. So when computers came by 14 years ago, YouTube opened up for everyone, for everyone to have a piece. And it opened up a door for apostasy at levels that are just infinite all over the world. It's a punch in the gut to God. The things, they claim to know God, but deny its power. They don't even. All they care about is money. You can just look at their homes. They don't care about the people they shepherd. This is happening in America, and it doesn't look good to the rest of the world. It's actually quite sickening. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'd say to you, and you may disagree with me about people who preach and say they have a ministry on YouTube, and they ask for money, either outright or I ask you to do this today. Take 15 minutes of your time, 10 minutes. Go to 15 different channels. It doesn't take long. And how many of them have in their description box Venmo, Cash App, PayPal? Now, if you're poor and preaching, and that's all you got, I understand. But Paul the Apostle said, I don't ask for anything so as to not hinder the gospel, because he knew God. And I know the arguments, but I know the answer. They were only receiving money in the Bible at that time because they were traveling preachers. So what happens? You have a zeal for God. You're making videos. You're talking. God is with you. Then all of a sudden you're like, okay, maybe I'll start asking for money. You do that, and then all of a sudden you have more of a zeal for God because you start waking up and you're waking up and you're thinking about money. That's what's happening. It's disgusting. Look at the state of America. Our grades have dropped so far. The United States, not Canada, the United States. And like I said in another video, you could gather 10 women, 10 men, it'd probably be the same. Do you know where Ukraine is on a map? Do you know where New York is on a map? They don't know. A lot don't. That says a lot. Everyone is in a spell. The witch's spell called Hollywood. Holywood. You can go look up those translations of what it means and how it all originated and all that. It has turned our people into automatons that are always looking for dopamine hits. I was just watching a Christian YouTube channel that I just happened to flip to because it was suggested. My throat, guys, is just being choked. It was Pastor Mark Driscoll. The reason I watched it is because it was about OnlyFans. So you would see it today if you looked on his channel. What's with this OnlyFans? People sleeping with 100 people. Like literally women whoring themselves out. In any case, sleeping with 100 and then 1,000 men in a day to make money. That will ruin their soul later on. It's because they're empty and they don't feel they have anything else. And it's money driven. So those OnlyFans women make, some of them make tens of millions of dollars a year. Our fabric of society is ripping apart. Not only is it completely apostate, but the fabric of society is ripping apart. There's divisions. Men and women not even dating anymore, and if they do, it never ends up well. I'm not saying that's, I'm not going to say like other people do, like, I'm not going to generalize, but you know the answer, that men are staying away from women because women are screwing them over. For the most part, that they are. I know that to be true. Not just because I went through that type of thing. They've made it really hard for men to want to be around women. In any case, I don't want to judge all women out there because I know there are still a lot of nice women out there. It's all about self in America. In any case, what am I saying here? I'm saying that the United States of America, Canada, probably all the Western countries, but I specifically center on the United States, is being judged. I feel sorry for the men just trying to find peace with a woman. That really doesn't exist anymore. People aren't having kids. They're not going to be able to replace kids anymore. And it's hard to look at the States and see all the disasters in the last 4 years. We know they're all purposeful. And like Jesus told us, it's just going to be deception. And someone's going to say to me, this, the end times doesn't factor around the United States. Certainly appears to be so. If we're in the end times now, a lot of the signs are happening in America, and you're not looking in the right place. Be smart, look around the whole world, and look at them all, because they're all connected. But the reality is we don't know what's going to happen next. Something's going to happen today. I can guarantee something's going to happen within a week. Something else. Do you... Put it in the description box. Do you think God has allowed America to go downhill? Because it is. And I believe it was a place of God's people. But they've left God in droves. And in previous videos I told you why. The internet, connectivity. It's quite obvious. Right? People compare themselves all the time. Go on your Facebook, go through how many slutty pictures do you see, and just like there's something wrong with their world, and in another video, I know where it originates from. It's Hollywood. That's where all the image starts. It's where all the TV shows and movies come from. I knew I had to say more about this issue, and trust me, there's a lot more. When you go over all the disasters that just keep repeating itself, and you're going to say to yourself, when Trump gets in, are they going to stop? Well, I think the consensus on Christians right now is we are in the end times. So we know the birth pains are here. I think the majority of people believe that, except for people who have never opened and studied their Bibles. Why would the birth pains stop? We know they get stronger. So there could be a peace that would seem like a peace, but it's not gonna work. That's my opinion. But in any case, I believe America is being thoroughly judged. God bless.